We don't have much on there today, do we?
No. Okay, we are going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone.
Okay. Minutes and reports received and filed.
Yes, we have the collector's March 2023 fees.
Okay, who's having those Foster grants? Whoa. Okay, Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Campo Board of Directors tomorrow. Nick's got an LEPC quarterly meeting tomorrow. Thursday, yep, sorry, correction, Thursday. Capital City Cook-Off is Friday, Fairgrounds, right? And Nichols Career actually is having a car show Sunday from noon to 3, I believe. It's at Atkins Stadium parking lot. It's a fundraiser for them. So I think that's about all I got on there for this week.
ARPA meeting later today.
Yes.
Heartland Executive Committee meeting tomorrow. An ARPA meeting on Friday, Russellville, Lowman Fire Protection District, and on Monday, the Cole County Fire Protection District. The thing on Friday, is that the Buck-a-Bone thing?
Formerly known as Buck-a-Bone, yes.
Formerly, okay. You would know about Buck-a-Bone, wouldn't you?
I am a judge, sir, yes, somehow or another. I don't know how that worked out, but
Free food.
I don't know, it's weird. Sometimes good things happen.
Must have ate too much. I didn't get asked back.
Okay, well, I've got, tomorrow I have a News Tribune interview. Then I have a MU healthcare meeting dinner Wednesday night. Thursday, Chamber Workforce Development meeting. Friday, Central Trust Private Banking is having a Cardinal Day, so I'm gonna go to that. And that's all I've got. Appointments by commission, appointment to County Care Leave Committee.
Yes, we had an opening on the Care Leave Committee, so I was the person at EMS, so I would like to fill that position for the rest of the term with the one in red there, sorry. So if you could appoint Rochelle, I think, sorry.
Just take a motion.
Yes.
Motion to appoint Rochelle Cortez to the Care Leave Program Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, presentation from staff, consultants, invited guests. Our emergency management director, Nick, has been working, I think, with Dr. Watson from Lincoln University. So we thought we would let him tell us about all the great things that are going on over there at Lincoln that can actually benefit us as well. So, Dr. Watson.
Thank you. I'm not sure exactly what your process is.
Just get close to the microphone.
You were supposed to bring pie, didn't I?
They didn't tell me about that. And I usually can project pretty well too. So just here's some documents. My apologies, I didn't know how many people are going to be here.
Yeah, I printed mine out.
Okay.
Yeah, if I can one of these out too, so.
So I actually went ahead and made up a short PowerPoint and then just printed that out so you guys had some additional information. So really quick background. I was hired as a associate professor of political science at Lincoln University and started in 2019 in the fall. And when I got on campus, one of the initial things that I noticed was what I call a lot of plugs on the floor, not reaching the outlets. We had a lot of things in place but hadn't been fully developed. So my background is after 9/11, I started transitioning into the area of security sciences and intelligence work, training individuals to go and work in agencies in DC and things like that. And so had that security eye when I got on campus and just saw an opportunity to develop what has now come to be called the Security Sciences Institute. The overall approach to the Security Sciences Institute is, again, we're attempting to try and build an integrated education, training, certification program that also has dual use and dual applications in the real world, if you will. And so it's not just about the academic part, but really trying to integrate it with both post-professional advancement opportunities and training certification, as well as hopefully K through 12 pathways. So we really create a long-term engagement with individuals across the entire track and spectrum of their potential journey into security sciences. So as you see here, we kind of are building the Security Sciences Institute based upon 3 primary pillars. The first one being a training pillar focusing specifically on developing individuals who are directly ready to then go into law enforcement and security career tracks. The current foundation, as most of you are probably already familiar, Lincoln University was the first HBCU in the country to develop and now run its own law enforcement academy. In the little less than 2 years that it's been operating, its impact has already been significant. So for instance, last year, I believe that the academy actually graduated more candidates and cadets of color than the rest of the law enforcement academies in Missouri combined. And we believe that that is a significant impact relative to the overall increased level of diversity that we're looking for throughout law enforcement and security response. So we're really looking to take that basic foundation and begin to spread out the impact across a variety of different areas. So as you can see, we obviously already have a fully operational ROTC program, but we're also ultimately looking, beginning in the early stages, to look at how we might be able to develop a fire and emergency rescue academy as well. So that would create a full service dynamic out of that pillar. The second pillar is our certification education pillar. We are essentially, the plan is to build out several certificate programs that directly feed into the various workforce pathways, developing those certificates in particular in coordination with the agencies that we're hoping to get individual jobs in. So it's not about creating an academic structure or framework and then hoping that it fits into whatever job track that individual is interested in. We're working directly with the agencies to make sure that our certification process directly meets their needs, and thus that makes it that much easier for the individual to get employment in that area. The broader, the broader goal or vision here is to develop a 2 or 4 year degree program in which you would then be able to select a set number of certificate programs so that you're building out your resume and ultimately making yourself more attractive on the job market. Obviously, we all know that law enforcement personnel are in high demand. But if we can then start adding certain values to that, for instance, a cybersecurity certification or mental health for first responders certification, that makes those individuals that much more attractive on the job market. And so that's the broader vision, is to continue scaffolding up the certificate development to the point of having a degree program that serves a variety of different career tracks. The final area, and the one that perhaps is most pertinent to our conversation today, is our experiential learning pillar. And it's through this that we really want to, our long-term vision is to re-envision all the training, certification, and different aspects of emergency response development and management. One of the things, and what we believe is going to be the cornerstone of this pillar, is the Emergency Operations Training Center. So again, my research, and I literally ask people to tell me if I'm off base here, but I've been researching this for 3 years, and I have yet to find a facility like the one we're intending to build. We want to build an open access emergency operations center. So we are duplicating all of the primary components, needs, and assets associated with an EOC. But because it's not being built by a specific state or federal agency, we will have the ability to control access to the facility. So looking at SEMA, for instance, they have a fantastic, even Boone County. But if you're not part of that emergency framework and agency, you're not getting access. What that means is currently emergency operations training tends to be the small group of immediate responders training, developing it within the agency space, and then disseminating it to secondary agencies or even private entities in the community that might also ultimately be involved in that emergency response. We envision this space being an opportunity to actually bring them all together during the training itself, so that we can have both public and private entities at all levels, local, state, and even federal, in the same space at the same time training on emergency response and management. And that would be a ground changer in many ways in terms of our ability to create a more dynamic response to emergencies, both within the community and ones that these individuals might go and assist in other areas. And so it is with that, after talking with Mr. Ted Zork, we believe that there might be an opportunity for us to partner with Cole County. So I should say it from the start, we both recognize and appreciate your already stated support of the Health and Crisis Center building that will be developing on campus here. Again, we just met with our first designers and they're starting to put together a preliminary design plan, so that project is moving forward. Originally, this was going to be housed within that building. Last year, we got a MOAC Cells grant to develop the institute, $1 million from the state, which we also matched as an institution with another $1 million, which gave us the opportunity to move forward with this institute concept quicker than we had anticipated relative to the building development. And so with that, you may be familiar with where the LUPD is on Leslie Boulevard there. Across the street is a large business park. That's where we're putting everything. So basically right now that park holds the LU Police Academy. We will be building in one of the suites to the left, and I believe I included a quick visual. We'll be building in the suite on the far left of the Leslie Boulevard a 2-story emergency operations center, so that we're literally taking the floor out of one of the suites so that we can make sure that we develop the appropriate line of sight for the overall facility. We've visited SEMA, we've visited Boone County, our architectural design team got just great input and information from them, which has further allowed us to move this along. So we're now expecting that the final design team presentation will take place hopefully by the end of this week, end of next week at the latest. We will then start working with some contractors, and the hope is that we will have hammers hitting nails in this facility by end of May, beginning of June at the latest. The goal would be to have at least the majority of the facility built out by the start of the fall term in line with our curriculum, so that we can then begin piloting programs, testing simulations, and we've already worked with a couple companies to design those simulations with the hope that everything's piloted out during the fall with a full rollout in the spring of '24. So with that, any questions or anything maybe I didn't cover or you'd like further information on?
So are you taking down that strip mall and building new, or you're gonna?
We're renovating the space.
Okay.
And so relative to, for instance, as I understand it, talking to Nick, there are some potential emergency operation needs within the county and even the city of Jefferson. We are not pretending to be building a fully, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not, operational in the sense of meeting all, for instance, FEMA's design guidelines for tornadoes, and I mean, if you're building that sort of facility, there are a number of regulations and things, and that's another advantage of doing it this way, because we're really building it out as an educational facility first. We're not held to any of those standards, and so we are building the inside to match as closely as possible a fully operational EOC. But we're not required, for instance, to harden the building, which is where you get that massive increase in costs. So again, we're not presenting this as the standalone primary EOC for the county, but we do believe that it could serve as a secondary or redundant facility during emergencies. We also believe that it would be an outstanding place for training and ongoing exercises in that regard as well. So we do believe that there are a variety of different ways that it might meet the needs of the county, short of that full dedicated standing installation.
So is this gonna be, I'm sorry.
No, please.
So is this gonna be something similar to like what we're doing when we go down to Emmitsburg and we do a full series? Could we use this facility for something like that? So when we go down and set up the EOC and operate, like we did, I don't know if you remember, Jeff, you were there.
Yeah, I think the design, as to what I want to understand with speaking with Dr. Watson, is that it's set up in a training environment to have those realistic elements built into it, so you can actually simulate, and not just a single but a multi-day program. I have no clue why my phone went off, I'm sorry. A multi-day program so that you can actually simulate operational periods, very similar to what Emmitsburg does.
Yeah, so looking at this, for instance, so this is just the far left suite that we're building out for the EOC. The next suite here, the entire bottom floor, we're actually building out as a, like a better way to put it, almost a barracks. There'll be sleeping quarters, there'll be a kitchenette, there'll be area for individuals to kind of get a little downtime during the response. Because one of the things, for instance, that we'd like to build into this new framework of certification is a 24-hour emergency simulation. I've talked to other experts in the field, and most people right now are engaging in things like tabletop exercises, 3 or 4 hour type simulations. And the reality is that during a real world emergency response, I need to know where your head's at and how you're operating hour 10, hour 14, because that's when the real meat of the emergency, whether it's responding or mitigating or even post-emergency response, you really need to be able to capture that as well within the long stretch of the emergency that you're trying to engage. And so being able to build a training facility where we can literally duplicate a 24-hour emergency cycle, in addition to having the public and private entities in the same space training at the same time, we believe is going to be a fundamental change to how it's taking place now.
As you look to the future, someday you expect to see students come out of there with some kind of a certification, associate bachelor's certification, and go right to work for a political subdivision that has this need.
Absolutely, and really building the program in such a way as recognizing the value of either an associate's or a bachelor's degree, depending on what level we ultimately scaffold that degree up to. But also, quite frankly, recognizing that there are more than a few individuals whose desire to get into a certain career track, especially with regards to security and law enforcement, don't always require a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree. Maybe it's just a collection of certifications and they come back later. And so we're really trying to build out the program so that it's adaptable in that way, so that we can really, I want to be able to serve the incoming freshman who was introduced to emergency response as a K-12 pathway. I want to get them engaged and as excited about this as the post-professional who's maybe thinking about a career switch or just needs to update their certifications. I want this space to serve them both equally.
So originally the plan, I think we had was School of Nursing, and you were going where the lab school was. So you're no longer gonna be,
We're currently in the design phase, and so we might use some of that space,
Okay.
maybe conference rooms and things like that. But the practical training and things like that would be coming out of this space at
Okay.
Leslie Boulevard.
so that'll basically be nursing then.
Nursing and maybe taking a more holistic look at the crisis center concept to incorporate both security and non-security approaches to dealing with crises. So I know that there's a variety of different ways that they're talking about it, about how this building is going to be shaped out. And I do know that there will be space in it for the security sciences concept. It's just a matter of making sure that I don't duplicate efforts. And again, this facility was kind of really there waiting for us to utilize. And so, for instance, there will be some additional pieces that we're developing, one of them being an academy level obstacle course that will be dual use by both our ROTC candidates and the law enforcement academy candidates. And then we'll also be building a live shooting range in the basement of the stadium. And so that also will be utilized by our academy cadets. Other questions?
When do you foresee your first, you say spring of '24?
Spring of '24 is when we're hoping we have a full rollout of certificate programs. The facility is fully operational. I'm just trying not to get ahead of it. One of the things I'm quickly learning is construction projects never go at the pace or in the way that you expect them to. So having to be a little bit flexible on that. But to put it in perspective, the MOExcel grant, or at least our state level component of it, needs to be spent, if not encumbered, by the end of September. So that kind of gives us a pretty hard day.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't mean that there's not still definitely going to be work going on, but in terms of that funding, we need to have that committed by September.
Look forward to your grand opening.
Yeah, we are too. We are too.
So will the EMT be with the School of Nursing then Or will
It'll
it-
probably be kind of a shared program. Chief Gary Hill right now is working to finalize the EMT framework. We're actually working with an external group who already has established and fully recognized and certified curriculum for that. And so we're bringing that in. We're trying not to reinvent the wheel. We're trying not to go off on our own, if you will. We're trying to make sure that all the programs that are being developed are developed directly in line with the requirements and needs of the agencies and work pathways that we're trying to connect them to. So, and again, I don't know exactly what a partnership between the county and this institute looks like right now, but before we had actually convened, you had mentioned the 911 call center. That to me is one of the things that we're trying to connect with. We are, we've had some preliminary discussions with Ameren as a potential technology partner. I will be visiting the Worldwide Technologies Advanced Center in St. Louis here in another week or two. Long story short, we're looking to bring in a tech partner that's not just about getting us the assets and materials we need right now to develop the space, but we really are looking for somebody that has a long-term vision and understands that this space would really be an incubator, if you will, a petri dish for trying some new training, for trying new simulation components, and really engaging that emergency space in a different way. And if it doesn't work, then we can reset and try again, because again, it's not wedded to a particular agency. And so we have a lot more flexibility in how we can approach these things than a standard EOC would.
I think it's exciting. It's great.
You know, the interesting thing to me is if you house them there and you have them working 24, I mean, literally around the clock, just as if it was a real emergency, you may learn a lot about the psychology of when when does the body give out, and almost like an experimental lab in that respect.
Exactly. I mean, I've been part of a couple of live shooter exercises, for instance, and one of the things that's always struck me, especially in my experience, it's almost always been on a campus environment. The number of times I thought it might be useful, for instance, to get psychology individuals in there to do post-emergency or post-shooter response kind of simulations, so that you start to understand that the emergency absolutely is its thing. It's something you have to deal with. But there's a post-emergency component that you have to deal with as well. And it more often involves psychological and sociological issues than the emergency itself did. And so, again, if we could bring those individuals in and have them, so it's not just about talking to you after the entire simulation is done, taking notes, observing you during the simulation, which then gives so much better context of assessment after the emergency is passed. And if we can take that and build that, not just, for instance, for trying to identify potential sources of PTSD and things like that, but also then really leverage our academic dynamic, now we have an environment in which we can start developing high-level research relative to emergency response and management. Again, something that most EOCs are not developed to do. It's this separated kind of, this is what we did during the emergency, give it to the researchers and see what they come up with. If we can get all these folks in the same space, operating at the same time, I think it creates a completely different dynamic for our understanding of emergency response and management.
Cool.
Yep.
Thanks.
Anything I can do, folks, and for those that know me, I run about 100 miles an hour until I hit the wall, and then I pick myself back up and start running again. So please do not hesitate to reach out if there's anything I can do, if you'd like further information. This is progressing. I have to say, after 3 years of kind of slow moving it and looking for grants and things like that, since we got that MOXL grant, things have really accelerated. So we're excited about the future, and we're hoping that Cole County can be a part of it.
Keep working with Nick, and then Nick can be our,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know President Mosley is also interested in, so maybe it's about convening another follow-up and talking a little bit more detail, but thank you for the opportunity.
Okay.
Julie.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Dr. Watson. Appreciate your time.
okay, commission comments. Bids and contracts.
Did you get one?
Bid award of 2023-10 inmate welfare products.
We bid out the inmate welfare products for the sheriff's department. There were 4 vendors who submitted a response. Overall, Bob Barker has the lowest and best pricing. They are who the sheriff's department currently uses, and they're pleased with their products and services. So our recommendation is to award 2023-10 inmate welfare products to Bob Barker. And
Did
it's,
you email that to us?
yes.
Okay, I didn't print out a copy.
Do you want a copy?
If you got one handy, I always look at them when they're attached to the,
Anyone else need a copy? And it's just awarding today, no contract.
I just always like this one because it's Bob Barker.
Price is right.
Still hanging on too.
Okay, sorry, I didn't look at it the other day when you sent it. I know there's not a whole lot to this one. It's a little easier than the other one, so I'm fine with it, so. I'll make a motion to award the inmate welfare products bid to Bob Barker.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any unfinished business?
Yes, we do. Brian does.
Brian does.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Back in October, we entered into an agreement with Huber Associates for our managed securities program, and part of that was those documents was a non-disclosure agreement, and they actually have it signed. But I was going through our records and noticed I probably didn't provide it to get it countersigned by the presiding commissioner. So I would like to do that at this time, unless there's an objection. Legal has reviewed it.
Fine.
Okay.
Need a motion? I don't know.
Well, they already moved it, signed.
Yeah, I think we did everything before except have it signed
Yes,
by
sir.
this
We did everything for
president. So,
Okay, I will sign it.
There's a date at the top, too.
Jessica, do you need this?
No.
You said you had something, Deb?
Last week, the health department, you guys approved the positions and the starting salary, and then she discovered what she handed to you guys was the wrong amounts, and she sent you guys an email. I just want the county clerk to have the right amounts for the starting salary for the one that she emailed you guys.
Yeah,
Okay. I think I gave you a
I
copy.
think we all knew what she meant. It was just on the,
Yeah, just the copy they had was wrong too.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, new business. Accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending review, and you have one at this time.
all right, I'll make a motion to approve accounts payable upon review.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
abstain.
Okay. Second and final reading of budget adjustment number 7.
This is for $19,133. This is the sheriff's department. This is the 50/50 grant on, it's the POG. It's part of the ARPA grant, a new ARPA grant they received for the local recovery funds for a peace officer grant. That's what it stands for,
All
POG.
right. Make a motion to sign court order or budget adjustment number 7 for $19,133.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second and final reading of budget adjustment number 8.
This is for $25,856. Again, this is a 50/50 match, and it's an ARPA grant that the sheriff's department received for county jail maintenance improvement grant.
Okay, we good. Make a motion to sign budget adjustment number 8 for $25,856.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do we have anything else?
I do want to ask Toby sent you guys an email on the appraisal. And I think Sam, you responded to. I just want to make sure you guys are okay with that, and I'll put a purchase order out there for this, the appraisal cost. Give you a copy.
Yes.
All I have.
Well, we gotta kill one more time, because it's only 9:29, so we gotta at least go to 9:30.
Well, you also did receive an email from Toby on the tribal funds on the van. If you want me to add that to the agenda at some time, or if you want us to research that as far as cost of one.
I think there's only a small window when we can order it. Is that not right, Sheriff?
Now, we're getting those numbers together. I should have that finalized today on
Okay.
when they can order that.
But there's a window
Yes.
when we have to order it, so,
Yes.
yeah, we need to work on that.
Okay.
I would, if we could, not speaking for Toby, but we should probably put that on the agenda for next week, and then that way, because she's gonna be here anyway, and then we can move forward with that.
That's okay with you guys? I'll
Yeah.
add it to the agenda. Okay.
Okay, now we're at 9:30. Anything else? I would entertain a motion to stand in recess until 4:30.
You would.
Yeah,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
By golly, we're good. And we have our acting auditor here, man.